Hey, what is up guys, Steph here, and today I'm bringing you the Shaddol deck profile. You guys have been really psyched about this whole archetype, and you guys really should be psyched about this whole archetype. It is a great deck, and I'm just going to give you the deck profile because you guys have been so generous with the other video about sharing, about liking the video, and hope you guys can appreciate that, you know, I'm giving you this deck profile. The one thing, the three things that I'll mention, guys, here is I'll mention pure Shadolls, Shadolls, and artifact Shaddall, so that you guys can understand why the pure variant is the best. Okay, I know that you guys have probably been testing various things out, but I'm telling you right now, the Shaddol pure version of Shadolls is actually the best variant. So we'll get into this. The deck profile as it stands is 1 Exodius, the ultimate Forbidden Lord. I'll explain him in a second. Black Luster Soldier, Envoy at the beginning, he's pretty self-explanatory. Shaddol Beast at 2. So we've got 2 of these. We've got 3 Shaddol Dragons because there's so much heavy back row abuse, and he's just such a great card. He really is a great card. We've got Shaddol Lizard at 2. We don't want him at any more than 2. We've got Armageddon Knight at 3. He is your foolish burial. The more you mill, the more you make the choices of what you mill, the better he is. He's also a dark, so he works with Shaddol Midrash. We've got Honest. Honest is pretty self-explanatory. You know, works with BLS, works with Neff if she ever gets her effect negated, or she comes up against a normal monster, a normal summon monster that, you know, she can just get over immediately. We've got 3 Shaddol Hedgehog. Shaddol Hedgehog's effect is explanatory. Minerva at 3. The reason we run Minerva will be explained in a second. We've got 3 Shaddol Falcon. We've got 3 Shaddol Fusion. We've got 1 Foolish Burial, 2 MSTs, 2 Super Polymerizations instead of that field spell. We don't want the field spell because the field spell is not as good as Super Polymerization, simply because cards can be activated to the field spell or to your Shaddol Fusion. So you do want Super Polymerization instead. It's not that much of a minus. You've got Squirming Fallen Shadoll, which is called Facing the Shadows on DN. So Facing the Shadows is a really great card. You should be running that at 3. Compulsory Evacuation Device, obviously. Shaddol Roots, 3. 2 Fiendish Chains and Solemn Warning. For the extra deck, we've got 3 of each fusion. We have Leo. He can be made with Falcon and Nephilim, so that's the reason that you run Leo. We've got Stardust Spark Dragon. We have Moonlight Rose Dragon. Remember that, guys, this is OCG, so you just run the OCG cards. There's no downside to it. Black Rose Dragon, Arcanite Magician, they're all spellcasters. So when you fusion synchro summon with Falcon and Shaddol Beast, or Falcon and Midrash, they're spellcasters, so you can use Arcanite Magician. No harm in doing that. For the level 6s, we're limited in choices, so we run Psy Conductor Behemoth, or HTMS Psymyth, or whatever he's called. He's a good card, he's solid, he's a solid level 6, and it does make your opponent wary of attacking. We have Armides, Keeper of the Boundaries. He's your synchro level 5. Great card because, you know, there's Boosions and everything else running around. Why wouldn't you want to run this? We've got Ally, Justice Catastor. Of course you're going to run him. And here's the problem with the deck. I don't know if I should drop Evil Swarm Exciting Knight. I don't XYZ that often. I really don't. There's something about this deck that makes it not XYZ efficient, and it's probably because they're all different levels. But we've got Dragon, we've got Lizard, and we've got Armageddon Knight. These are all level 4s, and if you're going to XYZ, you're going to XYZ with them. I just don't think it's a very good XYZ. I just don't think it's a very good XYZ centric deck, and you shouldn't really be running it. For the side deck, it's really up to you guys. There's so many siding options. But getting back to the very first card on the list, Exodius the Ultimate Forbidden Lord. Why do I run Exodius the Ultimate Forbidden Lord? Because his effect reads that it cannot be special summoned except by shuffling all monsters in your graveyard into your deck. That is not an effect. That is not an effect. It is not something that activates in the hand. It just, the condition to summon Exodius the Ultimate Forbidden Lord is to return all monsters back into your deck. Now the reason that we do this is because Shaddol Fusion will send all of those monsters from your main deck back into the grave if he controls something summoned from his extra deck, which means you can drop Beast, drop Hedgehog, add Hedgehog, Hedgehog add something. Beast lets you draw one. You get an immediate plus. You get an immediate plus by running Shadoll Fusion. It's just Exodius, the Ultimate Forbidden Lord. There's so many times when I've had a game where it's ended up that it's dragged on a little bit. The game has dragged on, and I'm running low on cards, and I can't fusion summon anymore, and I've run out Shadolls in my deck. So what do? I summon Exodius, the Ultimate Forbidden Lord, rejuvenate my deck, and there we go. We've got a Dark as well, so we can summon Midrash if we want to. It's a great card, guys. And for the people that want to run Shadoll Sworn, Shadow Sworn as it's sometimes known, Shadow Sworn is not a good deck. Why? Because for your normal summon you will use Raiden, so you're not setting a card on the field. You'll use Raiden, you'll use Layla, you'll use Lumina, you'll use Raikou, whatever you're using. That doesn't give you anything when you use Shadoll Fusion from the deck. Instead, Minerva does give you something. Minerva, when you use Shadoll Fusion with Minerva and say Hedgehog, you'll mill with Neff. Neff is Chainlink 3, guys. So Chainlink 3 will be Neff, Chainlink 2 will be Hedgehog, and then Chainlink 1 will be Minerva. Understand that the mandatory effect of Minerva comes first in the Chainlink, so it's Chainlink 1. So that's the first thing that, well, that's the last thing that will happen when it resolves backwards. So Minerva always last in the resolution. Now, she will gain her effect when she's sent from the deck to the grave, and that is a mill. Now, there's only so many times that you can mill in your deck, in the Shadoll deck, before you start hitting the same monsters that you've already used. Let's say you use Shadoll Fusion for Hedgehog and Minerva, and you've dropped Falcon for Neff. Let's say, so you drop Falcon. Falcon will activate his effect. When it comes to the fact that you've already dropped Hedgehog and Minerva will mill something. So Minerva can mill Falcon or Hedgehog, and you won't get their effect, simply because you've already used the effects of Hedgehog and Falcon that turn. So you can't use the effect again. When you're running things like Raiden and Layla and Lumina and things like that, it just becomes more and more likely that you're going to hit the same cards that you've already used that turn. If you hit 2 Falcons, you're only going to get one of their effects. If you've used Dragon that turn and you hit another one, you're not going to be able to use that Dragon that you milled out. It's bad to use. It really is, guys. Understand that consistency, when it comes to consistency, guys, and I know I'm kind of banging on about this a little bit too long, you've got Lizard to send things to the grave. You've got Armageddon Knight to send things to the grave. You've got Hedgehog to add things to the hand. You've got Beast to draw 2 and discard 1. You have Foolish Burial right here, Foolish Burial. You've got Facing the Shadows. Facing the Shadows is a great card, and it's another Foolish Burial. You have Shadoll Fusion if he controls an extra deck monster. There are so many things you can do to mill. You do not need to be running Lightsworn to mill in this deck. And the fact that you can control what you mill with all these cards that I've just mentioned makes it so that Lightsworn is dumb to run. It really is a dumb thing to run, and it doesn't provide you with anything to keep the deck going, because you can mill out your best monsters or the same monsters more likely than you will mill out the things that you want to mill out. So that's Shadowsworn, guys. I've been seeing a lot of Shadoll artifacts. And the thing that I'll say about Shadoll artifacts, don't run artifacts in decks that don't support them. Okay, now understand what I'm saying here. The only thing that you will benefit from artifacts is that you can make Nephilim. But what purpose does that serve? Because if you're setting them down on in the ST zone, you can't use Shadoll Fusion to send the artifact from the ST zone to the grave. You just can't. And it doesn't gain any effects when it's sent from the hand. It doesn't get any effects when it's sent from the deck. All it does is prevent your opponent from using MSTs, and if he's smart he'll just side in Forbidden Lance. You take out all his MSTs, put in Forbidden Lance, and then he's not going to be popping any of your cards. He doesn't care. He'll get rid of a couple of his dragons, or he'll just not use Dragon's effect the way that you want him to. You pop his own Shaddol roots so that he can bring back Shaddol fusion. He won't care. He'll stop doing that. Artifacts suffer the same. The artifact Shadolls suffer the same problem as a Shaddol mirror match. What I've understood is that the deck has no power play. Artifacts with Shadolls have no power play. For every artifact that you draw, that's one less Shaddol monster or one less Shaddol support monster or card that you've drawn. For every artifact that you draw, that's one less chance at Shaddol fusion. And you want Shaddol fusion into your hand. That's one less chance at Hedgehog, and Hedgehog can add Shaddol fusion, and you want Shaddol fusion to your hand. It's not the be all and end all of the deck, but certainly you should be trying to get Shaddol fusion to your hand. Artifacts also can't pop Midrash. That Moral Tech, that everybody's using Theosophy and Moral Tech. Those are the two cards that they're running, and it is dumb. Understand that it's really, really dumb to try to just run two cards and expect to get your way to win a duel with it, because all they really need to do is summon Midrash and then you get one special summon in a turn. Or they'll use Super Polymerization, which is what I've been doing. I've been using Super Polymerization. When he targets me, I use Super Polymerization, drop my thing, drop the artifact, and then summon Nephilim. Nephilim is a beast. Just can't, you really suffer to try and get over it, because usually you've got to special summon to get over it. If you do summon something very strong like Nephilim, I'll just set Dragon and then I'll bounce it back to the hand, and then you don't get your Shaddol fusion. It's all these plays that make the Shaddol deck so amazing, and I hope you guys try it out. The one last thing I will mention, guys, Soul Charge. Now, of course, the OCG does not have Soul Charge. It's a TCG exclusive. However, people in the DNCG, the OCG TCG combined little thing, have been running Soul Charge with Shaddolls. Now, what I'll say is, that's really also again dumb, because if I summon Midrash when you use Soul Charge, you're only going to get one special summon in that turn, and you're not going to get anything from it, because I've used Midrash and you've got one special summon, and they all get summoned to face up attack position, so you don't even get their flip effects. You can't synchro summon, you can't fusion summon. They are floating there as just dead back row, and you just spent what, 2,000, 3,000, 4,000 LP just to get them out. It's not worth it. It really is not worth it. Soul Charge is overhyped and is not relevant to the OCG. I don't believe it's relevant to the OCG. It's relevant to the TCG because the TCG sucks. And I say that with all love. I say that with all love because, let's be honest, set 5, set Gear Guy armor, go. That dumb way to play the decks. Dumb way to play Yu-Gi-Oh! This is why this is so refreshing. People love the fact that everything's a different level. There's no really any XYZ support. There's fusion summon support, there's synchro summon support. Everything's a different level, everything has a different effect, and they don't look the same. Like, none of the cards look the same. You know, Bear looks like Gorilla. You know, looks like Dragon, looks like, you know, Spirit looks like Leopard. You know, I'm just making these analogies. But the point is that, you know, all these cards look alike. Mermail, Abyss Spike looks like Abyss Turge and does the same kind of effects, but just slightly different. It's these kind of things that every single card in the Shaddol deck does a different effect. And it has two effects to it. It has two things, two conditions to it. And it's so good. It really is. One thing I'll mention, guys, is also, if you get Shaddol Fusion into your grave and you use Shaddol Lizard to send one card from your deck to the graveyard, one Shaddol card from your deck to the graveyard, it can be Shaddol Roots. Shaddol Roots will then get its effect and add Shaddol Fusion back to your hand. So, anyways, guys, that's been it for me. I hope you guys enjoyed this deck profile. I really hope you guys learn from it, and I really hope you guys play the deck. comment, like, and subscribe. Subscribe as always. I'm putting out great content, guys. And this is Seth punching out.